everyone. Today I want to talk about a woman who walks alone, not because she's lost or abandoned, but because she chooses to walk a path that's uniquely her own. This path isn't always easy. It's filled with moments of uncertainty, fear, and even doubt. But every step forward is a testament to her courage, resilience, and unwavering belief in her own journey. Walking alone requires bravery, but not the kind of bravery we often romanticize. It's not the roaring, triumphant confidence we see in movies or hear about in inspirational speeches. It's quieter, more raw. It's the kind of bravery that shows up trembling, unsure, and exposed, but determined to keep moving forward. That's vulnerability, and it's the heartbeat of courage. Let's be honest, vulnerability is uncomfortable. It's the moment when your knees feel weak, your voice shakes, and every instinct tells you to turn back. It's the feeling of stepping into the unknown without a guarantee of safety or success. And yet, choosing to embrace vulnerability is what transforms mere existence into a life of meaning. When you decide to walk alone, vulnerability is not just an option, it's a necessity. You face a world that might not understand your choices, question your motives, or challenge your resolve. But vulnerability is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about standing in the discomfort of your own truth, even when that truth is imperfect or incomplete. Many of us have been conditioned to see vulnerability as a weakness, a sign that we're not strong enough, confident enough, or prepared enough. We're taught to armor up to hide our fears, insecurities, and doubts behind a mask of certainty. But here's the paradox: the more we try to protect ourselves from vulnerability, the weaker we become. When we deny it, we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow, to connect, and to truly live. Walking alone and embracing vulnerability go hand in hand because both require trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that you'll find your footing, even when the path feels uncertain. Vulnerability asks you to let go of control, to take a step even when you don't know where it will lead. It's not about recklessness, it's about faith in your ability to handle whatever comes next, whether it's success, failure, or something in between. Embracing vulnerability also means being willing to feel deeply. When you walk alone, there's no one to distract you from your emotions, no noise to drown out your inner voice. You feel the full weight of your fears, your dreams, and your doubts. And that can be terrifying. But it's in that space where you're fully present with yourself that you find clarity and strength. To embrace vulnerability is to say, I am willing to be seen, even when I don't have all the answers. I am willing to try, even when I might fail. I am willing to walk alone, even when I'm scared. It's not a one-time decision. It's a choice you make every single day. And each time you choose vulnerability, you build a deeper relationship with yourself. It's also worth acknowledging that vulnerability isn't just about facing the world, it's about facing yourself. It's about looking in the mirror and confronting the parts of you that you'd rather ignore: the fears, the flaws, the doubts. It's about accepting those parts and understanding that they don't make you less worthy, they make you human. This kind of courage doesn't mean the fear goes away. It doesn't mean you won't have moments where you want to turn back or give up. But it does mean you're willing to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. Vulnerability teaches us that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward despite it. When you embrace vulnerability, you open yourself to possibility. You give yourself permission to be real, to be seen, and to be fully alive. It's not an easy path, it's one that requires immense bravery. But it's a path that leads to growth, connection, and authenticity. Belonging, it's something we all crave. From the time we're young, we seek it in our families, our friendships, our communities. We long to be accepted, to be seen, to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. But too often, the belonging we chase comes with conditions: fit in, conform, don't make waves, and don't stray too far from the crowd. Over time, this kind of conditional belonging chips away at something far more important: our sense of belonging to ourselves. Belonging to yourself is a radical act in a world that constantly pressures us to conform. It's the decision to prioritize your values, your truth, and your well-being over the need for external validation. It's choosing to stand in your own authenticity, even if it means standing alone. And make no mistake, this kind of belonging requires courage. When you belong to yourself, you are no longer bound by the expectations of others. You stop seeking approval as a measure of your worth and start looking inward for the answers that matter most. This doesn't mean you don't care about connection or community. It means you understand that real connection can only happen when you bring your whole, authentic self to the table. But let's be clear, belonging to yourself isn't easy. It means confronting the voices, both external and internal, that tell you who you should be. It means recognizing the ways you've shaped yourself to fit in, even when it felt uncomfortable or inauthentic. And it means finding the strength to peel back those layers and rediscover who you are beneath them. One of the greatest challenges of belonging to yourself is the fear of rejection. Humans are wired for connection, and the idea of being excluded or misunderstood can feel unbearable. But when you belong to yourself, you realize that rejection from others is far less painful than abandoning your own truth. You begin to see that your worth isn't tied to how many people approve of you or agree with you. It's tied to the love and respect you show yourself. Belonging to yourself also means setting boundaries. It's about knowing where you end and others begin. It's recognizing that you have the right to say no, to protect your time and energy, and to walk away from situations or relationships that don't honor your values. This can be difficult, especially if you've been taught to prioritize the needs and opinions of others over your own. But boundaries are not a sign of selfishness, they are a sign of self-respect. When you truly belong to yourself, you stop chasing the impossible standard of perfection. You stop worrying about whether you're good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, or successful enough to fit into someone else's definition of worth. Instead, you embrace your humanity, the messy, beautiful, imperfect reality of who you are. You recognize that your worth isn't something you have to earn, it's something you've had all along. Belonging to yourself also brings a profound sense of freedom. You no longer feel the need to constantly perform, to mold yourself into what others expect, or to hide the parts of yourself that don't fit the narrative. You give yourself permission to be fully seen and fully known, not because you're seeking approval, but because you value your own truth. It's important to understand that belonging to yourself isn't a destination, it's a practice. There will be days when it feels effortless and days when it feels impossible. There will be moments when the pull to conform is strong, when the desire to fit in threatens to overpower your commitment to your own authenticity. But each time you choose to honor yourself, you strengthen that sense of belonging. Belonging to yourself doesn't mean you don't care about others or their opinions. It means you've learned to care about your own voice first. It means you've chosen to trust yourself, even when the world around you feels uncertain. It's about finding an anchor in who you are, so you're not constantly adrift in the tides of external expectations. This kind of belonging is transformative. It shifts the way you see yourself, the way you move through the world, and the way you connect with others. Because when you belong to yourself, you show up with a sense of wholeness that invites others to do the same. You no longer need to prove your worth, you simply live it. Imperfection is often seen as something to fix, hide, or overcome. We live in a world that glorifies perfection, perfect appearances, perfect achievements, perfect lives. We're bombarded with images and messages that tell us we must look flawless, act flawlessly, and succeed flawlessly to be worthy. But the truth is, perfection is a myth, and the relentless pursuit of it robs us of the beauty, joy, and authenticity found in our imperfections. To embrace imperfection is to embrace our humanity. It's a declaration that we are not machines or ideals. We are living, breathing beings full of complexities and contradictions. Our imperfections are not flaws in the design, they are the design. They are the design. They are the cracks that allow our light to shine through. Think about the people you admire most. Are they perfect or are they real? Do they have moments of vulnerability, stories of struggle, and a willingness to admit their mistakes? It's not their perfection that inspires us, it's their authenticity, their courage to show up as they are without the need to hide their humanity. There's a kind of magic that happens when we let go of the need to be perfect. Suddenly, we open ourselves to connection. Perfection creates walls, but imperfection creates bridges. When we admit our struggles, our fears, and our flaws, we invite others to do the same. We say, it's okay to be real here. It's okay to be human, and in that shared humanity, we find the deepest sense of belonging. The beauty of imperfection is also about growth. When we strive for perfection, we often play it safe, avoiding risks or challenges that might reveal our shortcomings. But when we accept that we don't have to be perfect, we give ourselves permission to try, to fail, and to learn. Imperfection is the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and resilience. It's in our mistakes and missteps that we find new ideas, new solutions, and new strength. And let's not forget that imperfection is honest. Life is messy, relationships are complicated, dreams don't always go as planned. When we embrace imperfection, we stop pretending that everything is fine when it's not. We allow ourselves to feel the full range of emotions, joy, sadness, anger, hope without judgment. We stop comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel and start living our own truth. Imperfection also teaches us compassion both for ourselves and for others. When we accept our own flaws, we become less judgmental of the flaws we see in others. We realize that everyone is doing their best with what they have, and we approach them with kindness instead of criticism. We stop expecting people to meet impossible standards, and we learn to appreciate them for who they are, not who we think they should be. The beauty of imperfection is that it frees us from the exhausting cycle of not enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough. When we let go of the need to be perfect, we stop measuring our worth by these impossible standards. We start to see that we are enough exactly as we are. It's not just about accepting imperfection, it's about celebrating it. The cracks, the quirks, the rough edges, they tell our story. They remind us of where we've been, what we've overcome, and how we've grown. They make us unique. No two people have the same imperfections, and that's what makes each of us extraordinary. Imperfection is also a reminder to be present. When we're focused on trying to be perfect, we miss out on the beauty of the moment. We're so busy editing, filtering, and refining that we forget to simply live. But when we embrace imperfection, we allow ourselves to show up fully as we are without waiting for some future version of ourselves to be ready or good enough. To see the beauty of imperfection is to see life as it really is, not as a polished, edited version, but as a raw, unfiltered masterpiece. It's messy and unpredictable, but it's also vibrant and alive. When we stop chasing perfection, we make space for joy, connection, and meaning. We realize that it's not about having a perfect life, it's about living a full life. Imperfection isn't something to be feared or ashamed of. It's a gift. It's the permission slip we need to stop striving and start being. It's the reminder that we don't have to have it all together to be worthy of love, respect, and belonging. And perhaps most importantly, it's the truth that our value isn't found in our ability to meet an impossible standard. It's found in our willingness to show up just as we are. Pain is one of life's universal experiences. No matter who we are or where we come from, we will all face moments of heartbreak, loss, disappointment, and struggle. It's tempting to view pain as something to avoid, suppress, or escape a force that diminishes us. But pain is not just a force of destruction, it's also a force of transformation. When we choose to face it, to sit with it, and to learn from it, pain has the power to fuel growth, resilience, and profound personal strength. Turning pain into power begins with a simple yet profound realization: pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger. It tells us where we are wounded, where we need to heal, and what we value most. It demands our attention, forcing us to confront what we might otherwise ignore. When we listen to our pain instead of running from it, we begin to understand its lessons. We discover that pain is not there to break us, it's there to wake us. This process is not easy. Pain is uncomfortable, raw, and often overwhelming. Our first instinct is to resist it. We numb ourselves with distractions, deny its existence, or bury it deep inside, hoping it will fade. But unacknowledged pain doesn't disappear, it festers. It shapes our lives in unseen ways, limiting our ability to grow and connect. The first step in turning pain into power is to let ourselves feel it, to acknowledge its presence, and allow ourselves to experience it fully. Feeling pain doesn't mean wallowing in it. It means creating space to process it with compassion and curiosity. Why does this hurt? What is it teaching me? Pain often points us to areas of unmet needs or unresolved wounds. It reveals the cracks in our foundation, not to shame us, but to give us the opportunity to rebuild stronger. Turning pain into power also requires reframing how we see ourselves in the midst of struggle. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeing ourselves as victims of our circumstances, powerless to change our situation. But we are not defined by what happens to us, we are defined by how we respond to it. Pain can strip away our illusions and defenses, leaving us with a choice: will we let this experience weaken us, or will we use it as fuel for transformation? Resilience is born in this choice. When we embrace the lessons of pain, we begin to discover strength we didn't know we had. It might start small, a single step forward, a single decision to keep going, but over time, those small acts of courage build momentum. Pain becomes the foundation of our resilience, reminding us that we have survived before and can survive again. Pain also has the power to deepen our empathy and connection with others. When we face our own struggles, we become more attuned to the struggles of those around us. We learn to hold space for others in their moments of pain, offering understanding instead of judgment. This shared vulnerability creates bonds that are authentic and enduring. In this way, pain doesn't just transform us, it transforms our relationships, reminding us of our shared humanity. Another aspect of turning pain into power is discovering how it can fuel our purpose. Many of the most meaningful changes in our lives and in the world have been born out of pain. The artist who channels heartbreak into a masterpiece. The activist who fights for justice after experiencing oppression. The healer who guides others because of their own journey through suffering. Pain can ignite a fire within us, pushing us to create, to advocate, to build something new. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. Pain isn't a problem we solve, it's a process we move through. There will be moments of progress and moments of setback, moments of clarity and moments of clarity and moments of confusion. But with time and intention, the rawness of pain begins to soften and its lessons become clearer. Turning pain into power also means recognizing that power isn't about control or dominance, it's about agency. It's about reclaiming our ability to choose, even in the face of adversity. It's about saying, this pain will not define me. I will decide what it means and how it shapes my future. Ultimately, pain has the power to transform us in ways we never imagined. It strips away the inessential, forcing us to confront what truly matters. It tests our limits and expands them. It humbles us and strengthens us. And when we emerge on the other side, we carry with us not just the scars of what we've endured, but the wisdom, strength, and compassion we've gained along the way. In life, we are often taught to strive for strength, connection, perfection, and ease. Yet the true essence of these ideals comes from a deeper, more vulnerable place. The courage to walk alone, to embrace vulnerability, to belong fully to ourselves, to celebrate our imperfections, and to turn pain into power, all of these are acts of immense bravery and profound self-discovery. They are not about avoiding life's challenges, but about meeting them head on, finding meaning in the struggles, and growing into our most authentic selves. When we choose these paths, we uncover truths about our resilience, our purpose, and our capacity to connect not despite our flaws and hardships, but because of them. We realize that our lives are not defined by how effortlessly we glide through the world, but by how boldly we face its storms, how authentically we live, and how wholeheartedly we love. So let us not fear the solitude of walking alone, the discomfort of vulnerability, the honesty of imperfection, or the weight of pain. Instead, let us see these moments as invitations to grow, to connect, and to become the kind of person who leads not by avoiding the hard things, but by embracing them fully. And in doing so, we find not just ourselves, but a deeper, truer connection to the world around us.